Hello, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're about to begin the presentation, and I'm going to pass it off to Sadie for the introduction.
Hi, my name is Sadie Waldbaum. This is Alexa Weiss, Jesse Behar, and Noah Rubin. And today we will be presenting on Penn's logo association with anti-Semitism. So first, I would like to speak about the significance of a logo. A logo is a symbol or a design that is used by a company to make their products or services distinct. This has benefits to the company and to the consumers themselves. From the company perspective, a logo can make a product recognizable and raise brand awareness. From the customer's perspective, a logo offers quality assurance for a customer to ensure that it is from a brand that they know and care about. When Penn's logo is featured on a flyer for an event or as part of an on-campus group, it implies that Penn endorses it. This can be damaging to Penn's reputation, as we have seen it be in the past several months.
Cool. I'm now going to get into a few examples of Penn's logo being associated with anti-Semitism. The first one is the Penn Palestinian Rights Festival. This actually happened before the October 7th massacre. And as you can see on the right, certain Penn buildings and departments, such as the Kelly Writer House, the Sachs program, the Penn Arts and Sciences Cinema and Media Studies, did endorse and sponsor the event. At the event itself, several anti-Semitic speakers spoke, such as Roger Waters, who wore a Nazi-style uniform during a concert and desecrated the memory of Anne Frank. He also had a pig balloon with the Star of David on it at a concert, has mocked Holocaust survivors, and other speakers have said Israel is a colonial nation of degenerates, Israel is one big militarized tumor, Israel is a sick, demonic project, and she can't wait for the day we commemorate its end, and another tweeted death to Israel multiple times. While we do acknowledge some departments and buildings did only endorse specific speakers, it appears to the general public that all these departments are sponsoring the entire event. When you go on PennPalestinianRightsFestival.com and click on endorsements, all of these different Penn buildings are popping up with the Penn logo on it, and that gives the perception to the public and to students that UPenn is endorsing these anti-Semitic speakers and event. Moving on into Penn clubs promoting anti-Semitism. Penn Against the Occupation identifies as an independent student-run organization. However, the club is listed on Penn clubs. When a club is listed on Penn clubs, it essentially infers to the students that UPenn is encouraging them to join this club and also endorsing this club and what they have to offer. However, Penn Against the Occupation has promoted a free Palestine rally on October 7th, the day of the massacre, before any moves were made by the Israeli government. They also the next day promoted an event where a speaker said, "I was late to the news, but when I heard it, I smiled. I don't want to hear that BS, 250, innocent Israelis are dead. F them. Again, I want to salute them. A job well done." Obviously referring to Hamas. The club also called last week's congressional hearing political theater, and an hour later posted a graphic saying "globalize the Intifada" to their Instagram page, and they also released a statement calling the terrorist attack dignified violence. Again, this club is actually on pennclubs.com, signifying to students that UPenn is encouraging them to join, and they're also giving their stamp of approval on them.
So now we want to talk a little bit about how Penn's logo not only affects our Penn community, but those outside our Penn community in the greater Philadelphia area. So the Middle Eastern Studies and Near Eastern Languages and Civilizations Department not only teach our Penn students, but are also part of a program in which they offer workshops and lectures to teachers, faculty, and students across grades K through 12 in Philadelphia. Departments use the Penn logo in order to advertise and to promote these programs given the prestige of the University of Pennsylvania. However, many of these professors who are associated with teaching these workshops are also associated with anti-Semitic organizations such as Code Pink, whose co-founder argues that Hamas should be removed from the US list of terrorists. We also had the chance to browse the website of this program and look at many of the lesson plans, which many of them have no mention of the state of Israel at all, including a specific lesson plan called Women's Rights and Leadership about the Middle East, with no mention of Israel at all, and also who had a previous teacher who signed off on a BDS resolution. We believe that these people should not be the educators of religion and history to the greater Philadelphia community that represent Penn, given their strong and extremist beliefs. Additionally, using the Penn logo and the department names allow professors with anti-Semitic beliefs to cower behind these departments and the Penn logo rather than take responsibility for the support of these hateful organizations and their acts. And now we want to talk a little bit about some of the professors here at Penn, given that because they are directly associated with Penn, given their professors here, they are directly associated with the Penn logo. While Penn may not share many of the belief of these professors, we also understand how the perception of this may look really bad on the outside. So first we have Professor Huda Fakrdane, who makes multiple comments that dampen the Penn brand by making others feel unsafe and uncomfortable. So for example, on October 17th, so 10 days after the massacre, she posted a post that said, Israel is anti-Semitic, anti-human, anti-children, and anti-life. She's also going to be teaching a class in the upcoming semester, so spring 2024, called Resistance Literature from Pre-Islamic Arabia to Palestine. And she created a post here to show some of the teachings of what she would be discussing, including Ghassan Kanafani, who she claims to be a poet who is also a member of US recognized terrorist organization PFLP. We also have Professor Robert Vitalis, who teaches politics in the contemporary Middle East, who he believes should not be responsible for discussing such complicated topics such as politics in the contemporary Middle East, given his post over here that says, a quick and easy way to reduce my friends list, and it will look cool on your jacket too. This is a patch which represents the military wing of Hamas. He also has signed statements in support of Hamas's war crimes. And then we have Professor Ann Norton, who, if you were listening to the congressional hearing, her name was mentioned multiple times. And we have a tweet over here that talks about they baked a baby in an oven. They baked a baby in an oven. Say ceasefire one more time. And by they mean Hamas here. And her direct comment on this post is ceasefire, which just kind of shows a lack of compassion for those that are mourning such a horrible event like that. And we don't want that to reflect on Penn, given that this is ruining the reputation of Penn as being a strong and supportive network and a collaborative community. Having faculty that say things like this or comment like that makes that feel like less true these days.
Penn allowing their name or logo to endorse these events, students, professors, and faculty is showing that the university is at best complacent and at worst supportive of this anti-Semitism. The administration's response to these events validates our points even further. Soon-to-be former President Liz McGill had to issue many statements and emails to clarify the university and her own perspective on these events and speakers. One example of this is from October 15th, where former President McGill said the university did not and emphatically does not endorse these speakers or their views. This is in reference to the Palestine Rights Festival. The fact that President McGill had to send this email and clarify the university's point only further proves our point that the university's logo on this event implies the university's support of it. This has also done damage to Penn's perception from alumni, the government, prospective, and current students. First, from alumni, we have seen over 16 prominent donors pull their donations from the university, as well as an unknown number of other donors. The alumni claim that this is not the same school they knew when they attended it. Now, from the government, we first saw a letter from over 20 members of Congress stating that Liz McGill's response to the Hamas attack on October 7th was not appropriate. There is also congressional testimony stating that Penn is the worst campus for anti-Semitism. And finally, Penn was one of only 3 universities that had to testify in a hearing just last week on anti-Semitism on campus. As for prospective students, I have personally received numerous phone calls of prospective students questioning their applications to Penn due to anti-Semitism on campus, and I have heard this from many of my friends as well. There was also recently a letter that went viral from a current high school senior who just pulled their ED application to Penn because of fear of anti-Semitism on campus. I am certain that this will be proved statistically when the statistics from the current application cycle are published. As for current students, there has been fear for our safety on campus because of the organizations, events, and professors that Penn has put their stamp on. We are also concerned about what the worth of our Penn degrees will be due to Penn's association with anti-Semitism and are concerned how this will affect our applications on the job market later on in life.
Now we want to talk about the public perception of the Penn brand. And we want to do a little exercise with everybody here and everybody watching on Zoom. If you can just take out your phone and just look up University of Pennsylvania on Google. and see what happens. Because we made these slides. This slide I think we made like a week or two ago. So we just want to make sure that it's the most up to date. So I'll just give everybody a minute here and on Zoom. Just look University of Pennsylvania and then click on news. Maybe you'll find a new research discovery or a new paper published. Oh no, you'll just find that we've had anti-Semitism every single day. And this is the case for the past few months, that if you look up UPenn, all you get is a new story about anti-Semitism on campus, the bad response by our administration, a new professor, a new club, like all the things that we discussed. Even without the direct damage that these incidents hold to the university, the negative press Penn has received is certainly a cause for concern. And we believe that this could permanently damage Penn's reputation. This goes beyond what a lot of Jewish students are concerned about with regard to safety and Penn being a collaborative campus. And we believe and we want to argue that people should reach out to non-Jewish members of the community and people in the administration to focus on this issue specifically, that this is not only impacting students, but it's also impacting the broader Penn brand. Ensuring that Penn's logo and name are not seen endorsing anti-Semitic events, speakers, and faculty could begin to get the university back on track. So we have proposed a solution as students, but we really want to be in touch with professors and industry leaders to see what other solutions might be viable. First of all, we think stricter policies need to be implemented to vet the use of the Penn logo, and that the Penn logo shouldn't be used as recklessly as it has been in the past. We think a panel could be created with the responsibility of vetting departments, clubs, and events' use of the Penn logo. Just like most companies have a brand strategy, Penn should adopt this idea. The panel could have the power then to revoke the event's use of a Penn logo if the panel deems it anti-Semitic, or if the panel sees any other use of the Penn logo on other speakers, events, programs that endorse other forms of hatred, not only against Jews. Because at the end of the day, this problem around the Penn logo is about anti-Semitism today, but in the past, we've seen bad press come from Penn's endorsement of racist speakers or sexist speakers, homophobic speakers, etc. And so we think that a panel like this could do a lot to bring the university back, making sure that the logo is not used on hateful events and that the logo is used to endorse the amazing things that are happening here. With that, we want to open it up to questions from all of you. Anybody on Zoom, you can put a question in the chat. And thank you so much for coming out.
Noah's going to be checking the Zoom right now, but does anyone in person have any questions? Yeah, I'll give you the mic.
I don't have questions, but I do have, in some ways, a response to all of this. I mean, this really sucks, first of all. And this is, this is sort of common that you would have a brand book and brand guidelines as to when you could use a company brand name, how do you get permission to use it, or a university brand name? So then the question is, why isn't that happening here? Why is it so indiscriminate that you can use the Penn name, wherever you want? It is a problem, and it's a broader problem. It's a problem in terms of anti-Semitism. It's a problem in other ways too, where what we run into is if you have a strong brand, which Penn does, lots of people want to borrow it or steal it or whatever. You want to lean on it because it is a strong brand name. So anyone who comes along and wants to run any event, if we can get Penn to endorse it, that'll get us an audience. We've seen that at Penn. We've seen that with Wharton, where everyone wants to align with Wharton. Why do you want to align with it? We had 2 examples this last week. Why do you want to align with it? They don't care what we do. They just want to be able to put the Wharton name on whatever they're going to do. So this is a serious problem that the university has to deal with. Okay, the last thing I would say is, I don't know about the panel. Is that what you call it? You know, there should be the brand book. And then the question is, well, who's on the panel to decide who gets to, those are really important questions. Who is allowed to, I don't know the answer to that. Who should be allowed to use the Penn name? And only the authorized set of people. And then it would go through the head of communications for the University of Pennsylvania to approve something going out. I don't know if I'm being helpful at all.
I can say. So thank you for your response. And also just to answer that quick question at the end, we were thinking the panel could be like diverse, but we're also open to, like you said, like you don't know if the panel is exactly like the idea to solve this. Like we're open to working with marketing professors, with other industry leaders to come up with like other proposed solutions that could solve this issue. Like a panel might not be the exact ideal solution, but we're looking to work with other people who might be able to come up with that and who might know better than us as students. Few questions. Do you want to answer the chat or you want to? All right, Vice Dean Robinson.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I really want to congratulate you on the depth of your research and how emotionally charged this is and how difficult this must have been for you to find all of this. But mostly what I want to say is that in my experience, which is not that vast, but I've been in my vice dean role now at Wharton for 4 years, student voices make a difference. And as I was looking through some of the various categories where you do want to make a difference, the first one, the clubs, that is really a place where I think if you talk to the vice provost of university life, if you really got enough students together, you really could make a difference, because the university does oversee clubs. At Wharton, we oversee our Wharton clubs, and we work closely with them, and we would be very careful about them using their brand for some of the things that you describe. And then it gets more difficult. The club's probably the easiest. Then you get to the Middle East Center, then you get to the professors, and then it gets more difficult. And I'm not sure that I have the answers on where you should go to make your case, but I would certainly start by getting as many students together as you can and certainly start with the clubs and then see where you go from there. But thank you. This is really great work that you're doing.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. We have some few questions in the chat. So we're going to pull those up right now.
What's the administration think of this problem? Do they see it as a problem? I guess I can answer that really quickly. It's unclear what they think now, but it's important to note that about a month and a half ago, now the former chair of the board, Scott Bach, wrote a defense piece for Liz McGill in the DP, and he did mention this issue of speakers and the Penn brand, and he said that there should be no vetting process for speakers. There should be no centralized way of seeing what's allowed or what's not. And this is sort of a lot of people's response to this is that it's a free speech issue. And what we want to argue is that this is not a free speech issue, especially when you have something like the Penn brand that holds so much weight and has so much value. That's also a private brand. There's no reason why the private brand of Penn needs to be associated with any speaker or any department that holds views that don't align with the broader goals of the university. And so hopefully a new administration would see that issue as well. But as we saw from the emails that Sadie brought up, it's clear that using the logo on events does imply endorsement. And the fact that President McGill had to write so many statements about, no, this is not Penn, this is just happening at Penn, it shows that there was a lot of confusion about that.
We got another question in the chat. It's kind of similar to the last question. Who in the university is aware of the association to these events? To your knowledge, anything ever been denied by the university? To my knowledge, nothing has been denied by the university in the last few months. I think almost everyone is aware of the association. I think some of the specific examples we gave about the clubs and maybe some of the speakers, not everyone is aware of, but I think the overarching problem of having anti-Semitic speakers here, I think most people in the administration know that that is happening. Is there any other questions in the chat?
The role of Dean Wolf's anti-Semitism task force.
Do any of you guys want to take that one? Do you want to take it, Sadie?
So I think they're still figuring out the exact details of the task force. I'm not a part of it, but I know a few people who are. But I think the main goal would be to establish some sort of way for Penn to deal with the anti-Semitism on campus, whether that be more like laying out what disciplinary action can be taken, and what definition of anti-Semitism will be used, things like that. But I do know that this task force is just getting started, so it definitely still is in the works what the scope of it will be.
Have Penn students applying for full-time jobs or internships suffered employer backlash?
I can answer that. Have UPenn students applying for full-time jobs experience employer backlash? I would say a few prominent employers have came out and said that they aren't going to hire anyone from UPenn because of what's going on campus. So I would say that. I would also say some people who have sponsored or endorsed anti-Semitic speakers, some companies have taken action against that and like seen them and revoked their jobs. Besides that, I'm not really sure of any other information regarding that. Is that it?
Yeah.
Cool. That's it. We would like to thank you so much for attending on Zoom or in person. This is very important and we really appreciate it.
We'll send out a recording and the slides.
Yeah.
Share it with whoever.
Cool. Yeah. The recording and slides will be sent out later. Thank you. End it.